Hello, this is R J Dent in my library, and today I'm going to be looking at a particular favourite author of mine, Anthony Burgess. Now the thing about Anthony Burgess is that he's a very, very skilled author. He died a few years ago. He was a writer, journalist, composer, general TV pundit on all things controversial, bit of a controversialist himself. So let's have a look at some of his books. We're going to start with this one here, which is a sort of a study of Ernest Hemingway. Okay, thing was there were certain authors that Burgess admired, and Hemingway was one of them because of his short staccato prose. So that very interesting and informative book about Hemingway. The next one I want to look at is called MF, and it's about this is Miles Faber going across the Caribbean on his adventures. Very interesting, very amusing, very comic. Anyway, that's worth a read, as is this one here, the Kingdom of the Wicked. This one's about the Roman Empire, and it's that's really good. All the decadence of the Roman Empire as it sort of as it crumbled into due to its excesses. Okay, then some interesting ones. This one I particularly like. This is a translation and an adaptation of Edmond Rostand's play Cyrano de Bergerac. Some of you may have seen it made into a French film with Gérard Depardieu. I see him on the cover. Also made into comedy Roxanne with Steve Martin. Same story, same idea. This is Burgess's translation, and it is very good. So what you see in the film is actually words by Burgess. Well, they're words by Rostand translated by Burgess, and essentially Burgess has put his own stamp on it. I think it's an incredibly good play, and the bit when Cyrano says no thank you, non merci to everything that's offered to him, that for me is a particularly powerful speech. Strong, powerful. Okay, very good, worth reading. This one, Dead Man in Deptford. This is about Christopher Marlowe. It's a novel of Christopher Marlowe's life. Those of you who don't know, Christopher Marlowe was a playwright around for some of the time in Shakespeare's time. They were rivals and friends. Anyway, so Dead Man in Deptford tells you the life story, the fictionalised life story of Marlowe. Very, very interesting, very entertaining. And then of course, because he'd done that, Burgess then went on to write Nothing Like the Sun, his novel about Shakespeare. So you get Shakespeare's life, and it just says here, the life and loves of William Shakespeare, poet and playwright, have been open to as much fictional and non-fictional speculation as his work. Did he really love his wife, Anne Hathaway? Was the Earl of Southampton just a good friend? Who was the Dark Lady? And so on and so forth. So that's and it's very funny, and it looks at the way William Shakespeare may have contributed to some of the writing of some of the passages in the Bible for the King James version. Very interesting. This one, probably one of my favourites of Burgess's, The Complete Enderby. There are 4 Enderby novels. Inside Mr. Enderby, Enderby Outside, The Clockwork Testament, and Enderby's Dark Lady, which again is referral back to Shakespeare there. So Enderby's a great comic character, a not very successful poet, but it's a very good, interesting, entertaining comic novel. The next one I'm going to look at is going to be this one, which is Earthly Powers. Now some people consider this to be Burgess's magnum opus. It's not bad, I agree, you know, it's a very good novel. I enjoyed it, and you know, yeah, it's entertaining, interesting. Anthony Burgess's epic masterpiece. Follow the lives of 2 men who represent different kinds of earthly power. Kenneth Toomey, a novelist, and Don Carlo Campanetti, a man of God. So you've got the man of letters and the man of God. And it says here, Martin Amis says that it's crowded, crammed, bursting with manic erudition, garlicky puns, omnilingual jokes, which meshes the real and personalised history of the 20th century. Very good, very entertaining. If you want something long, but good. Okay, the next one. Now this one's quite an interesting one. This is 1985, which is Anthony Burgess's riposte to 1984 by George Orwell. Basically what he does, there are two things in here. There's an essay about 1984, and it looks at some of the things that are wrong with 1984 and some of its strengths as well. And then there is a novel in here called 1985 where Burgess writes his own sort of future fiction, if you like, dystopian fiction, as 1984 is, and that's very good and very enjoyable. And then finally, of course, the famous, or the infamous, depending on your point of view, A Clockwork Orange. Now I've got two versions of this, and for those of you not sure, it was made into a film directed by Stanley Kubrick. Iconic cover there. That cover is, well, it's become the cover. That eye and that face, and yeah, I mean the whole thing, just a fantastic, one of the most iconic book covers ever, I would say. Anyway, the two versions are this. When the film came out, it ended on the words, "I was cured all right." And this is that novel. So they brought out a short version with the last chapter missing that ended on the words, "I was cured all right." And then, of course, there is the other one with the extra chapter on the end. I think it's chapter 7. Yeah. So it's "I was cured all right," and then there's the final bit, which is a bit of resolution. And I think maybe it's because I read it first, but for me that is actually the more powerful of the two. I understand Burgess was trying to do that, he was, he couldn't end it on that, but for me that one works better than that one. But I've got them both. They're both very good. They've both got their values. They've both got their points that they're trying to make. Different points, actually. And obviously one is the film tie-in. Anyway, so that is my Anthony Burgess collection. Books that I'm very proud to have in my library.